Welcome to the Spiritual Story Podcast, where we will dive deep into the ancient wisdom of sages all around the globe. The story of King Dhruva. Dhruva Maharaja was only 5 years old, and he decided to go to the forest to worship God so that he can attain his desire to get a kingdom even bigger than the creator of the universe. Dhruva was the son of Uttanapad. Uttanapad, the king, was the son of Swayambhuva Manu. And Manu, he is the ruler of mankind. He is the progenitor of mankind. And Lord Brahma, he is the great-grandfather of Dhruva. Brahma, he is the representation, the incarnation of God to create this whole material universe. He is not God. He just gets the instruction, the ideas, the empowerment, and then he creates the whole universe, the whole manifestation. So some people maybe think, what about all these gods and devatas and demigods, and who are they? No, the Vedas clearly speak there's only one God. But this God, he is the cause, but he is not in detail creating the universe. This is Lord Brahma. So Dhruva Maharaj, he was the great grandson of Lord Brahma. And he decided a kingdom bigger than the kingdom of Lord Brahma. So to say, a kingdom bigger than the whole universe. Amazing, right? The story goes as follows. One day, King Uttanapad, he had his other son Uttama on his lap. As Dhruva Maharaj saw this affection from his father to his son, to his brother, he approached his father to sit on the other lap. But his stepmother Suruchi, the mother of Uttama, she didn't like it. She was the youngest wife of the king. So the king was very affectionate towards Suruchi. And Dhruva's mother, she already was older. He didn't see her much. The king didn't visit the mother much. He didn't pay much attention to the mother of Dhruva. So Suruchi said to Dhruva, you can't sit on your father's lap. You're not worthy. Your father loves me the most. Maybe if you take birth again, maybe in your next life, if you worship Lord Vishnu, maybe then you're allowed to take birth in my womb. So to speak, she told him, rather commit suicide. You're useless. And if you're lucky, if you worship God in next life, you can maybe become my son. She was so full of pride. She wanted to show the king how devotional to God she is. But actually she isn't. So Dhruva Maharaj, imagine a 5-year-old boy. I know my daughter, she's 3. If I tell her you can't eat the chocolate, then she starts to cry like anything. So 5-year-old Dhruva gets told, no, you can't sit on the lap of the father. And the father pushed the son down. And Dhruva was so angry, he was crying. He was so full of fear and anger and desperate. So with this mood, he ran to his mother, told his mother, Suniti, what happened. The mother told him, don't be so angry with Suruchi, with your brother. Be compassionate. Don't wish them any ill fortune. Don't wish them any harm. This doesn't suit you. What you can do, because Suruchi was right, I'm not so qualified. I'm sorry that I'm your mother. But you can go to the forest and you can start worshipping the Lord. Worship God. And then you will be qualified. But worship Him without any envy. Worship Him with devotion, with love. And the Lord is so merciful. He will grant you any desire. So Dhruva thought, I go to the forest and I want a kingdom bigger than the kingdom of my grandfather, Lord Brahma. Because the Lord can fulfill all desires. So I go to the forest and I worship the Lord to get my heart's desire. Because Dhruva Maharaj, He was not humble. He was a small boy, full of hatred and anger and desperate. So he didn't care about being envious, offending someone. He was eager and determined. He wants to be recognized by his father. And when he gains a bigger kingdom even than his father, then his mother and him will be recognized by the king. So what we can learn so far is the mother Suruchi, she talked very harshly to Dhruva. So we also need to be very careful how we deal with people, how we speak. Don't use harsh words. We have to learn to speak politely, be pleasing, don't offend others, because you never know how to react. Imagine children, especially young people, if you're old and you say something, this can hurt them so much. Their whole life can change because of one wrong decision. And you could see the compassion of Mother Suniti. She told her son not to be angry. Don't wish any ill fortune, no harm. Be compassionate. Forgive her and go with this mood to the Lord. Pray to God. This is how parents should teach us. Not to fight, not to be in the false ego, not to quarrel and not to create more havoc. No. Connect to the Lord. Go to the forest and connect to the Lord. I mean, my parents probably will never tell me, hey, go to the forest and pray. But the mood should be there from parents to protect us from creating more disturbance and surrender to something higher, to some spiritual values. And we can see great personalities. They take shelter in God. Other people, they try to fight, try to conquer, try to establish themselves, to be right, to be strong. And they will do everything to put the other person down. So we can always choose which path we go. And of course, Dhruva, he was a kshatriya. He was a warrior by nature. Even though he's 5 years, his nature was to fight. His nature was not to let go of his desire. So he still went to the forest. So then Dhruva was on the way to the forest, Madhuvan, and he met Narada Muni. Narada Muni was sent by the Lord, because the Lord, he knows past, he knows present, he knows the future. Also his devotees, if they are empowered, they are called Tri Kala Kya. They can know present, past and future. So he sent Narada Muni, and Narada Muni, he was a son of Lord Brahma, of the creator of the universe. And Narada Muni was so empowered, he could travel all around the universe. He was singing and glorifying the Lord on his veena, and he was traveling from place to place to give spiritual knowledge, to help people to uplift their minds, to become devotees of the Lord. So Narada Muni was on the way, and as he saw Dhruva, he touched him with his merciful, and then he touched him on his shoulder, and he asked Dhruva Maharaj, he said, my dear Dhruva, I heard you want to go to the forest to worship the Lord. But you're only 5 years old. Shouldn't you play with your friends? 5-year-old children shouldn't go to the forest to meditate, to practice yoga, to worship the Lord. Not even yogis, after many lifetimes, can attain perfection. What to speak of you? You're just a small child. Why don't you go home? But Dhruva was so determined, so eager, and the Lord wanted to see his eagerness. So the Lord will always arrange, if he sees our eagerness, to send us some spiritual, elevated person, some guru, some spiritual master, to test us, that the Lord can see, is he really sincere? Is he really eager? What is his ambition? So Naradaji, he tested Dhruva Maharaj, and he told him, everything is karma, everything is destined already, you were born in this family. Of course, Suruchi, she is now with your father, he likes Uttama, this is your karma. Why don't you go home? Just forget about it. Maybe you grow up, and when you're older, you can come back. But now is not the time, just go home. And Dhruva was so eager, he said, no, I will not go home. In one sense, he was not listening to his spiritual master, but the spiritual master wanted to teach him, wanted to test him. And when Narada Muni saw his eagerness, he gave him the 12-syllable mantra to worship Lord Narayan. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. A very powerful mantra we usually chant before we give a class, when we speak in a temple or in a spiritual community about Srimad Bhagavatam, the Bhagavad Gita. When we glorify the Lord, we chant this powerful prayer, this mantra. The meaning is, I worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Vasudev. And Vasudev means someone who is illuminating everything. So someone who is everywhere, present at all times. So this was his prayer, this was his meditation. And he told him how to meditate, how to worship the Lord, what to eat, what not to eat. And how to visualize, how to meditate about the Lord's form. Because the Lord is not impersonal. The Lord is not just some energy. How can he be just some energy if I, a person, okay, my body is material and at one point I will die. The soul will transmigrate into a new body. But for the Lord, there's neither birth nor death. For the soul, there's no birth nor death. The body is changing, but the Lord's body is completely transcendental, means his body, his mind, his soul are all one. He doesn't bleed, he doesn't die. He's eternal, Sat Chit Ananda, full of bliss, full of knowledge, full of consciousness. He's everywhere at any given moment and eternal, no birth, no death. And he is the absolute truth. If he is absolute, that means everything we have, we possess, must be in him. Otherwise, he would not be absolute. So he's also the absolute person. And he has a form. He has actually many forms. But in this case, Narada Muni described the four-handed form of Lord Vishnu, with conch shell, with chakra, Sudarshan chakra, the disc in one hand, with a lotus flower in the club, very beautiful, with golden garments, lotus-like lips, very reddish, white teeth, very soft cheeks and beautiful face. He described his garlands and his jewelry, his lotus feet. And when the devotee meditates on the Lord, you will get so blissful, you will get so spiritually enlivened by just thinking about the Lord. So Narada Muni told him what to do, how to meditate, how to focus on the Lord, and what to chant, what is his mantra meditation. So Dhruva went to the forest alone. Imagine a 5-year-old boy starts to meditate in the forest, and there's all kinds of creatures and animals and beasts. And nowadays we have hunters and everything is like cities and hidden, and the tigers are in the zoo. But in those times, animals were freely around everywhere, so it was very dangerous. So Dhruva Maharaja went there, and in the beginning he only eats some berries and some roots. Then after a couple of weeks he started eating only leaves. Then after some months, I think 2 months, he only drank water every 9 days. Imagine that. Usually we say after 3 days it's over. There are cases they live from prana, from light, from prana energy, and they managed for many months and years to not drink and not eat. And it's possible. Why? Because everything is prana. My body is prana, this microphone is prana, an apple is prana, water is prana, and air is prana. And he was so austere. At one point, he only took a breath every 12 days. Unimaginable. Also in those times was called the Satya Yuga. So we have these 4 yuga cycles, like summer, autumn, winter, and spring. And in this time was summer, Satya Yuga, where people lived for 100,000 years. I know that sounds way too much, but in those times, Satya Yuga, they lived 100,000, Treta Yuga, 10,000, Dwapara Yuga, 1,000 years, and now in Kali Yuga, you can only live for 100 years. Also, people were much bigger, much taller. What we now see in our history and from science, it's not really scientific proven. There's lots of unexplainable things already happening around the globe. You find big giants dated back thousands, 100,000s of years. So our perception of reality, we can't take for granted. So we try to see with the eyes of scripture, because the Vedas were always there, they're eternal, were given in written form only 5,000 years ago. Because before, the people were more intelligent, they didn't need any books. They could just hear, and by hearing, they could remember everything. So those times was Satya Yuga, and Dhruva Maharaj, he meditated for 6 months. At one point he stood only on one leg. He stopped breathing, and he was focusing his mind, meditating his whole being on the form of the Lord. So he almost became one with the Lord, and he became so heavy like the Lord. So with his toes he pushed down the earth. He became so heavy that the earth was trembling, and then the whole universe was trembling. He became so hot. The devatas, the demigods, like I mentioned, there's no gods in that sense, because there's only one God. But the demigods, the devatas, they're like ministers or kings or presidents, who help ruling the earth, ruling the creation. So it's opposed. It's not they're living entities like us. They also at one point have to leave their bodies and transmigrate into a next. There's only one supreme, only one God. The Vedas are very clear about it. And there's this confusion, Hinduism, the Indians, and there's so many gods. But they're not gods. Nowadays they call them demigods, but they're called devatas, the devotees of the Lord. And then you have the suras, the devatas, and the asuras, the demons, people who are envious of the Lord, who want to destroy the Lord, who want to destroy the saintly people. Nowadays we also have this in our society. This is an asuric and a demonic mentality. Not that they are demons and looking like ugly and wow. This would be rakshasas or yakshas. Demons are also beautiful, disguised in a human body. So Dhruva Maharaj was perfecting his meditation, and the whole universe was trembling. He got so strong in his mystical powers, everyone got afraid, even the demigods, the almost almighty demigods. And when the demigods, the devatas, are in trouble, they know who is the supreme, and they go to the abode of the Lord and they pray, please Lord Narayan, please come, please save us, please help us. We are your devotees, we need your help. This Dhruva Maharaj, he's meditating, it's too much, the whole universe will fall apart, we need your help. And Lord Vishnu appeared and he told them, I know my devotee. And don't worry, I will help you. I will appear now in front of Dhruva Maharaj and bring him out of his meditation. So the Lord appeared in front of Dhruva, but Dhruva already fixed the Lord in his mind. He had darshan, means he could perceive, he could see the Lord within. Imagine God appears in front of you. He was in complete ecstasy on a very transcendental platform, completely spiritualized. Then the Lord appeared in front of him. Somehow Dhruva Maharaj's meditation stopped. And at one point he couldn't see the Lord anymore. He was cut off. So he got disturbed of his meditation, so he opened his eyes. And then his worshipable Lord was standing in front of him. And Dhruva Maharaj wanted to pray, he wanted to say something. Imagine, he was just 5 years, or 5.5, because he was 6 months out in the forest. Maybe even he turned 6. But a small child, Lord Vishnu in front of him, he didn't know what to do, what to say, how to pray. So he was completely bewildered. And the Lord, if we want to serve the Lord gives the ability. The Lord empowers us to speak, to serve, to glorify him. So the Lord took his conch shell and placed it on his forehead. And then Dhruva Maharaj, he got completely enlightened. He understood all the conclusions of all the Vedic scriptures, of all yoga philosophy. He was completely conscious, chit, full of knowledge. And he started glorifying the Lord in such nice words. And the Lord was very pleased with Dhruva Maharaj. And he told him, your austerities were very pleasing to me, even though you're just a young child. But you try to worship me with so much eagerness and determination. So whatever you desire, I will grant you. Just tell me, what is your desire? And Dhruva Maharaj actually, after 6 months of practicing bhakti, practicing devotion, he had no desire in his heart. All his anger, his frustration, his greed, his envy just disappeared. Because when we worship the Lord, all our material desires will diminish. I speak from my own realization. Everything I desired somehow it changed. The focus is changing. The more I'm focusing on the Lord, I get spiritualized and I lose the taste for material enjoyment. The same happened to Dhruva. He had no desire anymore to rule a kingdom bigger than Lord Brahma. But Vishnu said, look, I appeared now in front of you, of course, because of your austerities. And if I appear, I have to give you a boon. I have to give you something. I can't go back now and tell them, Dhruva is fine, he doesn't want anything. So please accept my benedictions. And he granted Dhruva Maharaj a kingdom greater than the kingdom of Lord Brahma. First he told him, for 36,000 years, because he lived 100,000 years, you will rule planet Earth. You will rule your kingdom. And then, after 36,000 years, you will attain my abode, called Shvetadvip, also known as the pole star. So the Vaikuntha means free of fear, a world where there's no fear. So he told him, you will arrive in Vaikuntha. There's the spiritual world where we have no access to, but there's also a spiritual planet in the material universe, the pole star. Yeah? So Lord Vishnu Narayan, he resides on that pole star, and he gave Dhruva Maharaj the benediction, you will be in my abode. Yeah? Now this pole star is also known as Dhruva Loka. Loka means planetary system or planet. Dhruva Loka. Some even say Dhruva became the pole star. Like we have Surya, the sun god, and he is also the sun, or Mother Bhumi, the earth. She is the earth, but also personality. So Dhruva Loka is the pole star. Very interesting. And when the Devatas have problems, they approach the Lord on Shvetadvip, where the milk ocean is also present. So they're going there and they ask the Lord to help them. Then the Lord appears. But this is in the material realm, a spiritual planet. At the end of many cycles of these yugas, Lord Shiva comes and he destroys the whole universe, and everything goes back into the Lord. But Shvetadvip, this planet, spiritual planet, Dhruvaloka, always remains. So he got his desires fulfilled, because he desired a kingdom bigger than the kingdom of the creator God, of Lord Brahma. And the Lord gave him his own abode. And Dhruva Maharaj said, my dear Lord, you're so beautiful, you're so merciful, you're so kind. Everything I desire is now in front of me. I have no other desires. I'm a great fool, because I desired broken glass, but now I found a diamond. So the Lord is the diamond in our life. We're all looking for broken glass. We're all greedy, envy, frustrated, full of fear and anxiety. We are all like 5-year-old Dhruva. If someone says something to us, we react. If someone attacks us, we fight back. We are all full of false ego. And we want to be rich. We want to have the biggest. We want to be the center of the universe. Why just the universe? I want something bigger. I'm the best. Everything is about me. This is our mentality. And by practicing bhakti, by purifying our heart, by awakening love for God, everything we will desire will just disappear. There will be no need for anything else other than love for Krishna or Vishnu, because this is the ultimate goal of life. Everything we're looking for is in the Lord. And the Lord is Bhagavan, the one with 6 opulences. He's the richest, he's the most beautiful, he's the strongest, the most knowledgeable, the most famous and the most renounced. And we in this world looking for these qualities. You know, this Michael Jackson or Elvis imitators. And they're not the same, they're not the original version. The same way we try also to be the richest, the most famous. Everyone needs to know my glories. The strongest, the most beautiful, the most knowledge. Maybe not the most renounced for some parts of the world. Maybe the yogis in India and other parts of the world, they want to be the most renounced, detached, and get liberated, get free from all material desires. But we looking for these 6 qualities, but they are only perfectly found in the Lord. So everything we're looking for, any pleasure, everything you desire, you find in the Lord. And our misconception is, by surrendering to the Lord, we have to give up everything. Yeah. Since I practice Krishna consciousness, I only gained. I didn't give up anything. Okay, I gave up unrestricted sex life. I gave up drugs and alcohol and meat eating and gambling. But this actually made me free. Yeah. There was just boundaries, shackles to this material body, to this world. And I experienced so much higher taste because I'm not entangled anymore. Imagine gambling, you lose all your money all the time. Unrestricted sex life, you always look for another gender to enjoy, or to go to prostitutes, and all the money and energy you spend instead of getting married, responsible, and create your own family. Drugs, alcohol, so much money you need, so much damage you do to your mind, to your body. I was an addict for 10 years. Or meat eating, you have to slaughter, you have to support the meat industry. After some time you stop meat eating, actually you're disgusted, you can't even think about it. It's completely tamasic, it's like makes your consciousness low, it hardens the heart. All this violence, the animals get killed, you eat, you get in your system. And there will be war and fight and quarrel in this world as long as we maintain slaughterhouses. So it's very difficult to live on a material level, right? To enjoy all these goods. And if you are free from this, free from the influence of Kali, the Kali Yuga right now, the age of quarrel and hypocrisy, because these things make us free. And then you experience the spiritual potency from within, and then you can approach God. You can also approach God when you eat meat, when you do drugs. I don't say that. Yeah. But if you want to go deeper, if you want to go the shortcut, like you go on the highway, and then you always take the next exit, go to the town and fill petrol instead of staying on the highway and going straight to your destination. We're always going around, and it takes us hours and hours, life after life, to reach our final destination. So that's why the Vedas are here. The stories are here to teach us, to guide us, to give us the experience, the perception of God. Especially when we read about the devotees, about these personalities who worship the Lord, then we can also come into this mood. Like, just think about this moment. You can give up everything you have, all these broken glasses, and you can get a diamond, the Lord himself, because the Lord sells himself out to his devotees, because he respects our free will. We can do whatever we want, but if we turn to him, he has so much love for us. He is waiting for this moment. He will give himself. That way it is said, mukti, liberation, you can get easily. You get free from entanglement. You go into the Brahman, in the nirvana, in the impersonal effulgence of the Lord. Yeah, this is liberation. This is easily attained. But bhakti, devotion, love, and service to the Lord, this is not so easily attained. Because when you practice bhakti, you capture the Lord, and the Lord will become yours, and you will become his. So it's a very loving exchange. The story of Dhruva Maharaj really gives us hope, even if you have all material desires. The biggest material desire, to have a bigger kingdom than the kingdom of Lord Brahma. There's nothing tops that. Yeah? Even if you have this desire, go for it. But render devotion to the Lord. Meditate, pray to the Lord. Chant Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. You will get purified. And after a couple of months, maybe days or years or lifetimes, there will be no taste for material enjoyment, because you tasted the connection with God, the love you experience in exchange with God. Imagine there's a person out there who loves you unrestrictedly, without anything in return, always, even if you say, you're not existing, I don't like you, there's no God, God is dead, whatever. He's still in your heart all the time, in each lifetime, to guide you, to help you, to reawaken the dormant, sleeping love we have already in us. Isn't it amazing? And this person Vishnu, Krishna is out there. He's in there. He's everywhere. Just waiting for us to return. So we can really consciously turn towards the Lord in the mood of Dhruva Maharaj. And even if there's desires, go with these desires to the Lord. You will get purified, and in the end, there will be no desires left, because you get the greatest treasure what you can ever get. The treasure which contains everything you ever wanted, everything you ever desired, and everything you will ever need. Lord Krishna himself. Thank you for being so patient. It's a wonderful story. I can recommend in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Bhagavad Purana, made of 12 cantos. Canto number 4, you will find the story of Dhruva Maharaj, translated commentaries from A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. I will put a link in the description below. If you have the opportunity, buy a set of Srimad Bhagavatam. It's, like I said, 12 cantos, around 14 books, and you can really transform your whole perception of reality, your connection with God, and you can really understand who you are and how to attain real joy and happiness in life. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Namaste.